Welcome back, Helldivers. In today's video, we're going to be covering the brand new update patch. Let's get straight into it. This is going to be one of the largest update patches that they've ever done, so let's get straight into it. The overview: they're going to be making changes to weapons, stratagems, and enemies, changes to the Spread Democracy mission. They got balancing for armor and armor rating above 100, now also reduced damage on headshots. Victory poses will not only play for the extracted. Let's get straight into the primary weapons, secondary weapons, and support weapons. Starting with the CB9 exploding crossbow. We have a slightly smaller explosion, increased stagger, decreased number of magazine mags from 12 to 8, increased number of magazines received from supplies from 6 to 8, slight reduction aerodynamics, muzzle and velocity increase. That's it for that. Now onto the Quasar cannon. They just increased the recharge time by 5 seconds. Now onto the Adjusticator. The full auto is now the default fire mode. Reduced recoil, increase in maximum mags from 6 to 8, increased number of magazines received from resupplies from 6 to 8. Now placed among the assault rifles. Next is the laser cannon, slightly increased damage, slightly reduced damage versus large volume of bodies. The SG-8P Punisher Plasma, decreased maximum mags from 12 to 8, increased the amount of magazines received from resupplies from 6 to 8, increased projectile speed but will still keep similar range, decreased damage fall off on explosion, now placed in the energy weapon category. Now the ARC-12 Blitzer, increased shots per minute from 30 to 45, now placed in the energy weapons category. Now onto the Eruptor, it has a decreased number of maximum mags from 12 to 6, that one's massive, that one sucks. Explosion damage drops off slightly faster. Now onto the Sickle, decreased amount of magazines from 6 to 3. The Scythe, increased damage from 300 to 350, decreased max number of mags from 6 down to 4. Now the Railgun, increased armor penetration in both safe mode and unsafe mode. Stagger force slightly reduced. Finally, another buff for the railgun. Onto the heavy machine gun. Third person crosshair enabled. That's pretty much it. Diligence counter sniper. Damage increased from 128 to 140. Economics improved. Onto Diligence, damage increased from 112 to 125. Now onto the P19 Redeemer, slightly increased in recoil. Pacemaker, increased damage from 60 to 75. Next is the Senator, increased damage from 150 to 175. Speed Loader, added when reloading on empty cylinder, speeds up and reloads on empty considerably faster. Dagger, increased damage from 150 to 200. Liberator, damage increased from 55 to 60. Liberated concussive, damage increased from 55 to 65. Dominator, damage increased from 300 to 275. Guard Dog Rover, increased damage by 30%. Guard Dog, slightly increased damage. Burning damage reduced by 15%. Now onto the stratagems. There aren't too many stratagems. The Machine Gun Sentry, increased health to match other sentries. Tesla Tower, increased health by 33%. RL-77 Airburst Rocket Launcher. Airburst Rocket Launcher will no longer detonate when shot near stratagems, HM turrets, sentries, resupplies, and other Helldivers. Reduced proximity radius. Now onto the enemies. Biospears and Nursing Spears movement speed have slightly been reduced. Hulk's force required for them to stagger slightly increased. Hulk's Scorcher direct flamethrower damage reduced by 20%. Devastator fire rate slightly increased, only the standard Devastator. Gunship sideways movement slightly increased. Scout Strider Riders now have less vulnerable to explosives. Fog Generators health and armor increased. Gunship spawners now have a much lower cap on how many gunships they can activate at the same time. Next we have the enemy patrols. We unintentionally had a non-linear scaling of the patrol spawn, so they didn't spawn as often as they should when they had less than 4 players. The intention is that 1 player has 1/4 of the patrols compared to 4 players, but it used to be that they had 1/6. Balancing adjustments to patrol spawning. Patrol spawning have been increased when there are fewer than 4 players. The fewer players, the bigger the chance for 4-player missions. There will be no chance compared to before. Biggest notable change will be for solo players at higher difficulties. Next we have the gameplay. They made minor level generation improvements to how we distribute locations throughout the mission map. This should improve the variation and distance between objectives, and objectives will most likely not spawn as far from each other as often as before. Added settings in the options menu gameplay section to disable automatic climbing and vaulting while sprinting. The Spread Democracy mission, otherwise known as Raise the Flag, can now be enjoyed at higher difficulties for maximum freedom spreading. When readying up, Helldivers now salute to ensure maximum democratic strike readiness, added ambience to the tremor planetary hazard to underline the severity to Helldivers can react accordingly. Shots that ricochet from heavy armored enemies will now properly hit Helldivers who fired them. Now onto the biggest part, the crash fixes. They fixed crash that could occur when host abandoned mission with squad, fixed crash that could occur if player tried to enter occupied XO45 Patriot suit, fixed crash that could occur for all players after or during mission results screen, fixed crash that could occur after shooting from the XO45 Patriot suit's rocket launcher, fixed crash that could occur for all players apart from the one that rejoined the ongoing mission with different armor and got reinforced, fixed superior packing methodology ship module not working properly, fixed blast absorption ship modules that it correctly increases sentry resistance to explosions, fixed issue where players could not navigate to the search results in the social menu, fixed some issues where items equipped in Warbond were not actually equipped, fixed an exploit that allowed over-eager Helldivers to use grenades excessively, fixed issue where kills from orbital barrage did not progress in direct fire exercise order, fixed issue that allowed traders to try to sabotage the extraction shuttle by deploying sentry stratagems below it, fixed issue where ion storms incorrectly prevented extraction beacon from deploying, fixed some stratagem beams that use incorrect color coding, fixed issue where some left stick on the controller could not be used to navigate the social menu, fixed some issues where various UI elements were cut off-centered, or too close to the edge of the screen on ultra-wide displays, fixed anti-material rifle facing away from the Helldiver after deploying it, fixed bug where anti-material rifle would consume an extra magazine after cancel reload, fixed bug where recoilless rifle would consume an extra shell if the reload was cancelled just after a shell was inserted but before the reload was completed, fixed issue where the sickle and quasar cannon could not shoot through foliage, fixed several issues where weapon thumbnails would disappear when scrolling through armory, fixed issue where automaton gunships sometimes could not see the player, fixed incorrect collision being left over after destroying automaton bunkers or detector towers with hell bombs, fixed issue where hell bombs would not deploy on certain missions, fixed certain issues that resulted in Helldivers drowning in deep water upon landing, fixed issue where hell pod space optimization made ammo go above capacity, fixed issue where stalkers became very visible in fog, mines are now pingable for better coordination with your team, receiving friend requests now gives the player a pop-up, improved readability of prompts and hints displayed in the tutorial onboarding, total experience is now visible in the career tab, added better support for ultra-wide monitors by fixing the aspect ratio of menus to 16:9, and adding a setting to control within the HUD. Keybinds bound to number pad will no longer reset upon restart. Fixed inconsistency audio when headphones are plugged into a DualSense controller while playing on PC. Playing rock, paper, scissors in front of the ship no longer causes player to fall into outer space. APW-1 anti-material rifle and MG-206 heavy machine gun now trigger hit markers while scoped in. Secondary weapons no longer remain in the ballistic shield ADS position after using a stem with the ballistic shield backpack equipped. Open text chat is now rebinded. Explosive weapons such as the R36 Eruptor, the CB9 exploding crossbow, the GP31 grenade pistol no longer pulls players inwards from the blast. Disable the squad invites during the tutorial, which cause an overlap in UI. Fix primary secondary weapons overlapping on the character's model in the armory. Report and block players is now visible in the squad menu. Dead scavengers now screaming for help if killed while calling in reinforcements. Fix anti-air cannons showing up as a stratagem scramblers and danger warnings. Added reload stage for spear reload after spent missiles have been discarded. Now onto the known issues. Damage over time effects may only apply when dealt by the host. We expect to have this fixed in the next patch. Reinforcements may not be available for some players who join a game in progress. Helldiver may be unable to stand up from crouching when surrounded by enemies. Game may crash if host leaves while dead and rejoins the same play session. Games may crash if the player changes the text language while on a mission. Various issues involving friend invites and crossplay. Friend requests cannot be accepted when the requesting player changed their username before the request was accepted. Cross-platform friend invites may not show up in the friend request tab. Players cannot unfriend players befriended via friend code. Players cannot unblock players that were not in in their friend list beforehand. Players may experience delays in medals and super credits payouts. Enemies that bleed out do not progress personal orders and eradicate missions. Scopes on some weapons such as the anti-material rifle are slightly misaligned. Arc weapons sometimes behave inconsistently and sometimes misfire. Spear targeting is inconsistent, making it hard to lock on to larger enemies. Stratagem beams might attach itself to enemies but will deploy to its original location. Explosions do not break your limbs except for when you fly into a rock. Area around automaton detector towers make blue stratagems such as hell bomb bounce and be repelled when trying to call them down close to the tower. Planet liberation reaches 100% at the end of every defend mission. That's gonna be all the patch notes for this update. I hope you guys all have a great day.